Last month, I went to New Mexico to fix my RV. It wouldn't go up mountains, it just overheated the transmission and overheated the engine, and I had to get it fixed, and I made some repairs in New Mexico, and you'll never guess what actually fixed it. I found something in New Mexico that I wasn't expecting to find, wasn't really looking for, and sometimes you find love in the least likely places. On Facebook, there's a number of RV solo groups that I belong to, and we all talk. And, it's partially for dating, but it's partially just to have a community with other single solo RVers, both male and female. So, he was on there offering his driveway. So I thought I'd check it out since I was in the area. Many of you know that I have been looking for driveways as I travel across the U.S., and here is a driveway. I wasn't interested because he has terrible pictures online. And he's actually a pretty good looking guy in person, but boy, online, on Facebook, he looked terrible. Look at some of these. Would you date this guy? So I went to look at the driveway one day, and the driveway looked pretty good. Had a hookup for a 30 amp, had plenty of space, nice enough neighborhood. So I decided that I needed to find out if he was an axe murderer or not, so I thought I'd have a coffee with him. So I called him up for a coffee, and he was filthy from work, but he said, sure, I'll meet you in 20 minutes at the coffee shop, so we had a coffee.
And guess what? We were both totally surprised when we met each other.
We actually met a few more times, like every day, for meals and conversation. Thai food and to a pub.
Gosh, I was really starting to like this guy.
I even went to work with him one evening at the Aztec Speedway, where he volunteers as an EMT. During one of the races, Rob was a little concerned that maybe I'd lose interest in him when this happened.
Everybody that was sitting over here got covered in mud. Look at it.
I didn't listen to him when he said it was best that I stay inside the truck. Some cars came around the corner after they had wetted the track, and we all got splattered with mud.
My finger that I didn't even know about.
I had it in my ear for at least a week.
I had mud on my head.
Yeah, I got it off.
Okay, thank you. Now look at the car. Through the windshield. Just from one little spin around, all of a sudden there was all kinds of mud.
But my enthusiasm, or maybe my refusal to listen to him, possibly those should have been a red flag. But of course, me being me, refusing to get distracted by any guy from completing my goal and driving across the U.S., I soon was racing away from this great guy, and I didn't go back to Aztec. And in Colorado, I faced a lot of problems. But wait! What about the repairs to my RV? A few things that I do to avoid driving this big thing, and especially up mountains of evenness. That's why I came back to New Mexico in the first place. I was having trouble climbing mountains or even small hills. And not so nice RVs up here. How does everyone make it up here? My RV will overheat if I come up here. I don't think I'll come here with my Class C. That's like a 10% grade. And my RV that I stopped without overheating. What happened with that? Enough of this shit playing with the boys. But whenever it gets up to about 215 or 220, back to business. Before each ride, I was meticulously researching on all the apps and websites like flattestroute.com and randymajors.org to know my elevation climbs ahead of time, and went way out of my way to avoid any kind of climb. So before I went to a recommended shop called Off Again in Farmington, New Mexico, to do the repairs, I had many expert RVer opinions as to what the problem was. So I started with the least expensive solutions first, which were also good preventative maintenance steps anyway, hoping to save the most expensive solutions till last. Step 1 was fix the broken tailpipe. No, that didn't help. Step 2 was service the cooling system. They used some BG products to clean out the calcium deposits and other contaminants, then a sealer to prevent any current or future leaking in the system, and then an additive to prevent corrosion and foaming to help the coolant do its job most effectively. Step 3, perform some fuel system maintenance. Step 4, replace the thermostat while things were apart. Step 5, replace the clutch fan with a heavy-duty one. It was the second biggest problem I was having. Intermittent and undersized. Step 6, that I didn't have to do, was replace the rear differential gear ratio. Luckily, I didn't have to do that because that was at least a $2,000 job. So far, my engine is a happy camper.
Looks good.
The biggest part of the problem was me. I needed some clarification on driving, and I didn't even realize it. The great mechanic at off again actually showed me I was driving it wrong. Him driving it for the test drives with me in the passenger seat not only surprised me, but it actually scared me.
Drove it like a race car.
Man after man had told me, drive it in the power band, don't lug the engine. Well, what does that mean? I thought I knew. I assumed I knew. That mechanic at off again really showed me. And then that crazy looking guy at the start of this video, Rob, explained it in black and white to me. When I drive my RV up mountains now, I think of those loud engine revving race cars at the racetrack.
I get it right every time.
Keeping the following 6 points in mind, my engine has been okay ever since. Number 1, approach hills and mountains with vim and vigor, momentum, and gusto. In other words, when you see a hill or a mountain up ahead, go as fast as you can safely. Number 2, when you see that hill, before you get to it and need to switch down to a lower gear before you even begin to start the climb. Number 3, and I really think this is the most important and the easiest to figure out if you're doing it right. Keep switching to lower gears with this in mind. Whatever gear you're in, you should be able to go faster with more foot on the gas pedal. If you aren't going faster with more pedal on, you're in too high of a gear. Switch to a lower gear if more gas pedal does not result in acceleration. It means you're lugging the engine and causing long-term damage to the engine. Now this is specific to my engine, number 4. I have a Chevy Express 3500 chassis on my motorhome, but it'll be specific for your own motorhome. But mine, it's good to find this out from the manufacturer. I keep my RPMs at no lower than 2,800 when I'm doing any kind of hills or mountain climbing, and I try not to sustain it at more than 4,500 for too long. And that used to sound like so much to me, 4,500, but if you don't do it for too long, it's completely acceptable in mine. Check out with your manufacturer what the power band is for yours. But that's what they were talking about when they were talking about the power band. I thought I knew, but I didn't have a clue. As an added bonus, if you're driving up and down hills on a mountain or in the hills, keep it at least in, not in drive, but in number 3. Then switch it to 2 and then to 1 as needed to maintain the ability to accelerate. See number 3. Number 6, if it goes to about 220 or 230 engine temperature, pull over, let the engine continue running, but keep it in park. Don't shut the engine off if it's overheating, only if steam is coming out. But if it's not actually overheating, if you're just worried that it's going to start overheating right on the edge, it's better to let it run without driving and pushing it. It will be able to cool down more gradually, efficiently, etc., using the clutch fan and circulating the coolant than if you just shut it off. And shutting it off could actually be quite bad. So I hope these 6 driving points of how to drive up mountains and hills in your RV has helped. And if you have any questions, please write your questions in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer them, and I can probably have my friend Rob answer them better if my explanation was not clear. And stay tuned if you're curious about what's happening with Rob and I.
Right off the highway, going north in Colorado. I climbed 2,500 feet today to get here. There's my rig. The RV spots with mountains behind me. Maybe the cat's just thirsty. When he or she is done drinking, she'll go home, right? Here's this cat just coming into my house. That's it. You're mine. That's what he's saying. But I think he's got some news coming to him. Come on out here. What you doing? What you doing?
Un poco de gracia. Y arriba, y arriba. Para bailar la bomba. Me Dog's cute. Car's cute. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, you know what I'm saying?
No, the cutest is right here.
What is the answer to the question? Let me ask you a question. Are you on drugs? Is that your best ow? Okay.
When I got to Colorado, I was about 2 or 3 hours away from Rob. We met in our cars halfway between, and yeah, we still felt that draw. He came up to visit again to go through Hovensweep National Monument in his convertible Mini Cooper. It was a fantastic day with a finale at a small winery nearby. We decided then to bring our RVs together at some BLM land near Mesa Verde National Park.
God, that thing is huge.
He arrived with an old friend of his, Jay, and his dog, of course, Luna.
Hey, Jay!
We shared some meals and a peaceful campfire as I got to know Jay and got to know Rob better. But soon they were on their way.
Up another ladder. Up we go. Cuesta Verde. That's really what it is.
And I explored Mesa Verde National Park for the next several days. Managed to get on a tour, hiking tour, one of the days, so I was pretty stoked for that.
Woo! We just got up all the ladders and the tunnels and everything else. Mesa Verde National Park, balcony house. It's great.
Hard to do one-handed, but it's working in the other.
When I got back, there was a message on my phone from Rob. He had a proposal for me. A 10-day trip up into the mountains to show me his favorite spot. We agreed to meet at the bottom of the mountain in our 2 RVs, and we would drive up in a convoy.
I managed to get on a tour. One good thing about being solo is you only have to get one seat.
So there was many adventures ahead. I was feeling happy and optimistic at this point.
Everybody looks beautiful.
Be sure to subscribe, write your questions below, and give me a thumbs up if you like this.
It's pretty amazing. I thought it was going to rain today. It goes to show you. You don't have to wait for tomorrow for the sun to come out. It'll come out today.
Welcome to Colorado.
I think I love Colorado.
Colorado's good. Utah's next.